I apologize. I really and truly do. Um, as I expressed earlier, I don't know exactly what's going on with my internet connection. It's been doing this the last couple of days. Every time I get ready to go on live, it'll just kick the fuck off. It and takes forever to come back on. It'll tell me I'm connected without internet connection, and I just have to reboot everything, start it all over, and then just sit and wait. It's extremely irritating, but hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna try to give you all this news today. If it does it again, I'm not going to reconnect and try to do it. So just letting you know that. Yes, I am irritated. I'm extremely pissed off right now because the energy that I had with giving the news a few minutes ago is not here right now. And I apologize to you all for that. But hey, that's just the way that I am. When things don't work out like this, like I expect for them to, I get pissed and I lose focus. It just is what it is. So we're gonna try to do this this second trip. Hopefully along the way I can get out of this funk and get this started back up, because I really didn't want to come back on. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I just really didn't want to come back on because the first live that I was on, I was energized, I was ready to go, and then this shit started happening, and it just pissed me off. So again, I apologize for the internet connection going down. But I'll be all right. Just hey, YouTube, hey to everyone coming in on YouTube, everybody that's coming in on Facebook. Okay, so like I said in the first live, I've got a lot to cover locally and worldwide. It's a lot of stuff going on. I know normally I'm here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but I was not here, as I explained in the last live that had the poor connections. I spent time with family and was not able to do my live yesterday. So let me pull up something right quick. And I appreciate you all for taking your time out on this Saturday evening to come in. Legislation of criminal penalties. Okay, so I don't really know where to begin, but I'll begin locally. So if you've been following what's been going on, and let me just say this before I get started: YouTube, Facebook, YouTube. YouTube, if you're a new subscriber, if you're new here, welcome. I appreciate you for tuning in. For all returning people, welcome back. I appreciate y'all For the new ones that's coming in, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Hit all, so that way you can get notified when I do go live, and you can be abreast of everything that's going on. Facebook, if you would please, if you like the information and you can, shoot me up some stars. Let me know that you appreciate it, which I already know that you do, but those stars do go a long way. They help keep the brand going and everything of that nature. Let's see if we can pull it up here. Yeah, so I've got it up here, that what I want to talk about. So we already know the weekend just started yesterday, and we've already had a couple of shootings here in Little Rock last night and tonight already. And when I say Little Rock, I'm talking about North Little Rock as well. If you've been following other social media pages, and me personally, I'm going to tell you, I'm no longer going out to crime scenes and giving that information. The only crime scenes that I will be going to is if there's a mass shooting at a hospital, a school, something of that nature or that magnitude. But these local shootings that's going on in, and I'll just say it, predominantly black neighborhoods, I am not chasing them anymore. I'm not going to them. It's just something that I'm choosing not to do. Now, if someone is on the scene and they make a video or take some pictures and they send them to me, then I will upload them and go from there. But I personally will no longer be on the scene of any more shootings or anything of that nature. It's just, and I've already talked about this almost a month ago, and said that I wasn't doing it anymore. It's just, I just don't want to be out there and just do it anymore. It's futile. I'll leave that up to others to do and so forth. So, we've got the shooting, and I'm not even going to really even discuss the particularities to the shootings that happened last night. If you've been following social media, you've been seeing everything that's going on, what went on Asher, that started off as a fight that led up to a man losing his life, to a shooting that just happened a couple of hours ago over in North Little Rock. I don't know the condition of the victim, if any suspects are in custody or what, but hey, it's getting hot. It's in the spring. It's getting ready to get into summer, and things are about to just get out of hand in Little Rock. Hey, what's up, buddy? Over here on YouTube. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If y'all have any questions, concerns, comments, please chime them in. I will answer them accordingly as they come in. I want to talk about, first of all, about this Arkansas legislation that the state representatives here in Arkansas have just passed. Now, I believe everybody is going to love this. As Senate Bill 426, Arkansas toughens sentencing for violent felons in 2025. Now, I'm going to speak on one in particular. It's about time that tougher laws or tougher penalties on sex offenders are taking place. It is now law that if someone rapes, and I have to look at it more clearly and see if it's molestation in there as well. I would hope that it has rape, molestation, grooming, anything of that nature. Anyone under the age of 13, you can now, as an offender, if you rape anyone under the age of 13, be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. You will now face that. It is about time that individuals for the longest have been molesting these children, grooming them, and have been getting like 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years in prison, and even 10 years. And then getting right out and being right back out here into society and not even registering as a sex offender and get out here and commit the same crimes again. So with all of the dumbass laws that the legislature has passed and put on the books, this is a win-win all the way around. I commend whoever the senator or representative that proposed this bill. I'm glad, I'm appalled that it has taken this long. I truly am. I'm appalled that it has taken this long to make an individual who has taken a child, a 4, 3, or 5-year-old, or 7, or 8, or 9, or 10-year-old child, and touch them and make them touch them and other things of sexual, for their own sexual gratification, to be facing life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. It is about time. These pieces of shit needs to, excuse me, these pieces of crap need exactly that. There is no justification to giving someone like that 5 or 10 years in prison, and they do a small amount of time and then they get out and they keep committing the same acts. So the law is, if anyone rapes, and I hope molest or groom or whatever of any person under the age of 13 or younger, I would say, that they would be facing life without or the possibility of the death penalty. And I think they need to crank that chair back up. Right now, it's death by lethal injection, but I believe lethal injection needs to go away. Lethal injection needs to go away. People who are sentenced to death for whatever crime they have committed, if they have truly committed that crime, needs to suffer when they are put to death. And I believe that old Betsy, the old electric chair, needs to be cranked back up. It just does. I mean, when you harmed your victim, was not treated humanely. So when you're put to death, why should you be treated humanely? It makes no sense. No. Stop that. So let me go into, says Arkansas toughens sentencing for violent felons in 2025. Now we already know violent felons, under the new sentencing guidelines that Governor Sanders has put out, you're doing 100% of your time. Depending upon what the category is. Murder first degree, rape, aggravated robbery, kidnapping, and certain other charges, you're doing 100% of your time. Terroristic threatening, and several others you'll do 85% of your time. Now we know what Donald Trump has been proposing, and come to find out Donald Trump has been proposing this and talking about this since January. He wants to make it legalized law where he can take natural-born American citizens who commit violent offenses and have been convicted of those violent offenses and sentenced to the Arkansas Department of Corrections or any prison, or any state across the United States. He wants to be able to deport them to El Salvador prisons. He actually spoke to the El Salvadorian president and asked him to build 4 to 5 more prisons because he's wanting to fill them up. Now, this is the thing. If he can take this one guy, this Garcia guy, this Kilmer Garcia, and deport him out of the United States, what do you think could stop him from going into prisons here in the United States, if he wants to, and directing Homeland Security and everybody to go into these prisons and extract individuals out? He ain't got to go into the prisons. To be honest with you, soon as someone is sentenced and convicted, soon as someone is convicted of first-degree murder, here's the theory. Here's my theory. Soon as someone is convicted of first-degree murder, rape, aggravated robbery, kidnapping, anything of that nature, a violent offense, in the court, there could be Homeland Security individuals there, Homeland officers there, to automatically grab that person away from the custody of the sheriff's department, put them on a plane, and send them straight to El Salvador. They don't even make it to the ADC. If this man truly wants to do that, he can. And who's going to stop him? He's already telling local and federal judges, basically, you're not running anything. I'm going to continue to do what I want to do anyway. They wrongfully, the Trump administration clearly wrongfully deported a man to a country, to his country, that a judge said that he could be deported from the United States, but just not to El Salvador. Not only did the United States and the Trump administration deport this man to El Salvador, the country that he should not have went back to, but they sent him straight to an El Salvador prison. So if they could do that, all these checks and balances that people argued, oh, he can't do this, he's not going to be able to do this. Trump, he got reined in on after his first term in office, and he knows what he can't do when he gets in there, folks. Everything that what you said that this man can't and will not do, he's doing. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm 100% all for him sending naturalized born American citizens who have been convicted of violent offenses to deport their asses to El Salvador. I'm all the way 100% for it. As long as it's blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, everybody. It doesn't matter what your race or ethnicity is. I am 100% for Donald Trump and his administration deporting naturalized born American citizens who have been convicted of violent offenses take their asses right up out of the courthouse, put them on a plane in all 50 states, and send them straight on over to El Salvador. If they want to act a fool over here in the United States, then we can see whether they can act a fool around MS-13 gang members in El Salvador. We can see if they're going to cry about their civil liberties and constitutional rights in El Salvador. I firmly believe it. I firmly trust in it. And Donald Trump or anyone from your administration, if you're listening to this, I ride with you on deporting anyone that is convicted of a violent offense in a United States court, in the criminal justice system, to deport them immediately. Let's not even get them to wait on their appeal process. If they have been convicted in court, take them straight up out of the court, have Homeland Security right there in the court, houses all across this United States. Every time someone is facing a violent offense, whether that be terroristic threatening, whether that be first-degree murder, whether that be Gang Enterprise Act, whether that be rape, whether it be aggravated robbery, whether it be kidnapping, whether it be causing a catastrophe, whether it be whatever, anything that's dealing with violence. Anything that's dealing with violence and you've been convicted of it in a court of law, that day, that hour, that minute, that second that you have been convicted, there needs to be Homeland Security individuals in that courthouse to extract you from that courthouse, take you, load you up on a C-30 airplane and send you straight to El Salvador. I believe that once American citizens start seeing their homeboys, their cousins, their brothers, and everybody being done like this, then maybe they'll start saying to themselves, I better start acting right. I better stop killing people. I better stop carrying these stupid ass guns around with these switches on them and everything. Maybe, just maybe, that will make them open their eyes and say, I'm not doing this no more. That will help out. It will help out our local police officers. Our local police officers will not be so stressed out, constantly working 12-hour shifts, being at this shooting, and then another shooting happens while they're investigating this shooting, and then they got to rush across town. Detectives got to rush across town to the next shooting, then they get over there to that shooting, and then there goes another shooting 5 or 10 minutes after they made it to their second shooting. I mean, come on, people. At some point, you have to say within yourself that if you say, I'm tired of this, what are we going to do to stop this? All the prayer in the world is not going to stop it. Y'all have been doing that for decades. Oh, God, please cover our people. God is not covering nobody. God is not, I'm just saying it. God is not covering nobody. Apparently, he is allowing this stuff to happen. Constantly, almost every day, there's a killing somewhere in this United States. Well, there is. I mean, all over. We can safely say in every state, in every single 50 state, well, there might not be one in Montana, Wyoming, Utah, or anything of those particular states. But I'm just going to stick it out there. In every 50 state, every day, there's pretty much a killing. There's pretty much a homicide going on in every state. Let me see what they're saying on YouTube. What's up, Vic? What's up, Vic? He said, what's up, big bro? Just joining the live. Hey, what's up with you? Bro, basically, just to recap, our sentencing guidelines for 2025 by our legislator has toughened up. Sex offenders, people that commit sex offenses against individuals 13 years or younger, are now going to be facing the death penalty or life without the possibility of parole, as they should. No one who molests a child in any way, shape, form, or fashion, rape or whatever, should even see the light of day ever again. I mean, like this piece of crap that I did the investigation on. I can't think of his name, but he's in the county jail now. I did the investigation on where he had molested his own cousin from the age of 5 all the way up to having sex with her till she was 12, almost 13. He's in the county jail now. I hope he falls under this sentencing guideline because he needs the death penalty. And I said that the death penalty needs to be, the lethal injection needs to be taken away. And the old Betsy, the electric chair needs to be cranked back up. It needs to be cranked up because if you didn't treat your victims humanely, why should you be treated humanely when you're put to death? You hurt them, harm them psychologically, emotionally, physically, whatever. So you should be done the same way. If it's cranked once and you don't die and your eyeballs pop out your head and your hair stand up on your head or you start sizzling like bacon, hit you again and keep hitting you until you pass on. Agree with that. That's sad, man. Shaking my head. Exactly. So, and then, you know, I know you follow the news, so you know that Trump is trying to send naturalized born American citizens who's convicted of violent offenses to El Salvador prison. I'm saying I'm 100% for that. Anyone, black, white, Jew, Gentile, Protestant, or Catholic, it don't matter what you are. If you've been convicted of a violent offense in the courtroom, there should be Homeland Security officials, FBI, whatever, officials right there, national security, because they're the ones that can do anything they want to, and you can't do anything. They can say it's a matter of national security. So state police and nothing can't do nothing, can't get in the way or anything. So right then, when you're convicted, you should be extracted from the courthouse, taken straight to a C-130 airplane, if I'm saying it correctly, loaded up and sent to El Salvador. Like Trump told the El Salvadorian president, build 4 or 5 more prisons because I'm going to load them up. And that's the way it needs to be. Maybe, just maybe, if people start seeing their loved ones extracted, their homeboys and homegirls and everything extracted from courthouses and loaded up on planes and taken and dropped off in El Salvador prisons, and they can't communicate with them, maybe that'll make persons start saying, you know what, I need to straighten up my life. I need to straighten up my life. I need to stop this mess. Maybe that's what it takes. And like I said, if Trump or Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance or Elon Musk or anybody in Washington, D.C. under the Trump administration, anyone under Homeland Security, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, anybody that's in the Secret Service, the NSA, the TSA, the DSA, the NFA, whatever, sees this, then hey, kudos. I hope it passes because I'm in support of it. Get the pieces of crap up out of here. Anybody that's convicted of any violent offense, anybody that's in these prisons already doing time for violent offenses, extract them up out of these prisons and send them on over to El Salvador. Plain and simple. Now, going back to where I was at, Arkansas toughens sentencing for violent felons in 2025. Starting in 2025, Arkansas enhanced tougher sentencing laws for individuals convicted for violent felonies. Under the new provisions of the Project Arkansas Act 659, offenders convicted of serious crimes such as rape and capital murder will serve 100% of their sentences. Other violent crimes, including aggravated robbery, human trafficking, and serious sexual offenses against children, will also fall under stricter sentencing guidelines. Do you understand that, y'all? Let me say that. Other violent offenses, including aggravated robbery, human trafficking, and serious sexual offenses against children, will also fall under stricter sentencing guidelines. Now, as a lot of us are already abreast of and know the law, we know in 2005 there was a Supreme Court case of Roper v. Simmons. And under Roper v. Simmons, it stated that anyone under the age of 18, 17 years of age and younger, could not be sentenced to the death penalty. Okay, then an addendum came along in 2011, I think it was, 2010 or 2011, in another United States Supreme Court case that came along, Miller v. Alabama, that said that anyone under the age of 18, 17 years of age and younger, could not be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. So that gave an influx of people that had been convicted as kids, as teenagers, 17 years of age and younger, during the time that I was incarcerated, got to go back up to the court to be resentenced. Now, there were a lot of them that had been sentenced back in the 80s and so forth that had been locked up for like 15, 20, 25, 30 years. They immediately got out. Because when they went back to court, their life sentences that they had been sentenced to the first time at the age of 16, 17, 16, 15, 14, whatever, they may have served, let's say, 20 years. Okay, they took the life sentence off of them, reduced their capital murder down to first degree. First degree is 10 to 40. So, boom, give them 40 years. They've already served 20. They've served half their time. They got let out. Hold on, let me read this. Yeah, Vic, I know what you meant when you said you agree. I know you meant that. So that happened. Now, some of them got out. I would say most of them got out and are out here in the streets and doing fairly well. They haven't recidivate, fell under the recidivism ballpark and went back. Some may have. But now these Republican states, these Republican governors, these Republican representatives, these Republican senators, and some Democrats are tired of it. When you constantly got killings going on, like here in Little Rock, what happened last night, over on Asher, to the shooting that has happened tonight over in North Little Rock, to all the killings that's going on in Chicago, to all the killings that are going on in Houston, Dallas, to all the killings that's going on in LA, to all the killings that are going on in New York, to all the killings that are going on in Mississippi, Memphis, Minnesota, Bodymore Murderland, Baltimore, Maryland, to everywhere all over the United States. Something needs to be done. And an enhancement of the sentencing guidelines is a great start, but I think there needs to be a little bit more action. You need to take away the lethal injection. Take away the lethal injection. We don't need anyone sentenced to death. Don't need to die humanely. Crank up the electric chair. Put the electric chair back in. Bring in the firing squad. Believe in Utah, they still got the firing squad on the books. Matter of fact, there was a man who just got sentenced to death. It was either this year or the end of last year. He opted for the firing squad. He wanted the firing squad. And guess what happened? They stuck him right in front of a firing squad and they let him have it. They let him have it. Bing, bing, boom, bang, boom. That needs to be brought up. There's another one. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. From the Gallo. I'm not gonna say what it is, y'all already know. Yes, that needs to be brought back too. That needs to be brought back too. Some might not like it, but it is what it is. Folks need to learn. Once you know, see now we're back on YouTube. See, now I'm still off over here on Facebook. Well, I'm not going. There we just pop back up. See, what's up, Jackie? See, that's what I'm talking about. This internet connection. And when I get to talking about something good, this is what happens. It kicks off. So I'm just gonna keep on going on. So and not stop in stride because I get pissed off. So I believe that when people are out on the streets and they're getting ready to harm someone, if they can say to themselves, if I kill this dude, I could face the death penalty. And if I face the death penalty, I will either be in front of a firing squad or I will have to face the electric chair, and that's going to be painful and suffering. I probably won't die right off the bat. I'll frizzle and fry like some bacon in a skillet with hot grease. Or I face and drop from a gallon. I believe it will probably shock the conscience of individuals in this world to make them think twice before they pull that gun on someone and kill them. Maybe. Here's another little stretch. If Trump and the Trump administration is able to start deporting criminals who commit violent offenses and deport them to El Salvador prison, like what they're trying to do. If we start getting those laws on the books like those, if we get governors and legislators to stand in front of a camera and say, if you kill someone, these are the things that are going to happen to you. There shouldn't be no constitutional bearing for anyone who lawlessly takes someone's life just out of malice, forethought, premeditation, deliberated, or anything. There shouldn't be nobody that should be able to bypass any inhumane conditions. Inhumane shouldn't even be the Eighth Amendment to the United States Constitution. Shouldn't even be able to be on stance for anybody that commits these violent offenses like the way that these animals are out here doing every day. If we are truly tired as a people, we have to let people go. We have to get to a point where we say enough is enough. We have to have a conscience of a mindset to say, I'm tired and I'm not putting up or compromising with these animals anymore. It comes a point when a dog has to be put down. And it comes a point when a human has to be put down. When an animal is rabid, whether it be a raccoon, whether it be a dog, whether it be a cat, whether it be whatever, and there's no medication that can bring them to a point of sanity because their mind is totally warped, they have to be put down. I believe that is the same way with a human being. When you are out here and you can get on social media and you can make threats against someone and their life and threaten to do harm to them, you immediately revoke your right to society. I believe that we have to be a constitution. We have to be a state of laws and penalties. We have to be able to apply them to a person we know just as well as a person that we don't know. Parents, you can only do so much to help and save your children. If your children are out here committing violent offenses, no, they do not deserve a second chance. No, they do not deserve compassion. What about the second chance or the compassion for the person that they killed? Or their family of the person or persons that they killed? They will never see their loved one ever again. Don't they deserve retribution? At some point, we have to stop saying that individuals we know who are menaces to society, oh, he's just 15, he's just a baby. No, he's not. A baby is someone you can hold and cradle and rock like this, that says, and can't talk for themselves. That's a baby. A baby can't pick up a gun, a Glock that they put a switch on and got an extended magazine in there that's got 30 or more in the magazine that they can just squeeze that trigger and they let off all 30 rounds in less than 5 seconds. A baby can't do that. But a 15-year-old can, a 14-year-old can, a 13-year-old can, a 16-year-old can, a 17-year-old can, an 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30-year-old can. And when they do that, they need to be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole automatically and sent to an El Salvadorian prison, or they need to be sentenced to death and put in the electric chair, or in front of a firing squad, or boom, and dropped and left there. And that's not just on black people. So let's get that understood. That's on anybody that commits a violent offense. This kid, or excuse me, let me strike that back. This 20-year-old adult that shot up Florida State University, I think it was Florida State, and killed 2 and injured several others. He is the son of a deputy sheriff, a female deputy sheriff. He took one of her old service weapons, went to school, and executed 2 people. He is a prime example of someone who should be sentenced. He shouldn't even be able to be sentenced to life without. He shouldn't even, he has forfeited his right to live. With an act like that, he needs to be sentenced straight to death. Straight to death. That's it, point blank, period. But let's say he is sentenced to life without. Immediately after he is convicted, he is loaded up on a plane, a C-130, and shipped down to El Salvador and locked away in an El Salvadorian prison. Period, point blank. My thoughts do not change on that. That's the way I believe and feel, and that's what I hope and pray that Donald Trump does. And legislation needs to pass to be able to give them automatically life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. I also think that these state prosecutors need to stop plea bargaining with these murderers and these violent offenders. My cousin was murdered in 2009 in her own home. This guy stabbed her to death. And this guy lied to the police and the prosecuting attorney and told them that he did not know my cousin, that he thought my cousin was something else, and that when he found out, he wanted to leave, and my cousin didn't want to let him leave, and my cousin pulled a knife on him, and then he fought, got the knife, and stabbed my cousin to death, which was farthest from the truth. Because he did not call 911 afterwards. He left, and this is the kicker part. He left and then realized he had left his phone in the house. He broke back into the house, went around through the house looking for his phone, and didn't realize that my cousin had gotten his phone and dialed 911, and then fell on top of the phone and had the phone up under her and that's where she died at. That's how they were able to find out who he was from his phone that my cousin had to dial 911 that she had it up under her. Do you know they waited until the 9th hour of dropping the charges because they were saying that my cousin was all this and all that bad type person and everything, and they were not going to prosecute this guy at first. And then they finally dropped the charges down to manslaughter. Got him to plead to manslaughter. He served 8 out of 10 years on that manslaughter charge. And now he's back out in society. But people within the community knew that that guy and my cousin had a long relationship going and refused to get involved and tell the police this because they didn't want to get involved. Now, after it was all over with, the police and the prosecutor found out that they had it all wrong when I was simply, clearly trying to tell them from the first beginning, this dude had a relationship with my cousin, and his means was to rob and kill her. Well, was to rob her. He didn't think she would fight back, and he got a butcher knife and killed her. So, no, I don't have no sympathy for no piece of shit that kills people for money gain and for trying to do whatever and so forth. I believe, again, they need the death penalty. Load up old Bessie, crank it back up, the electric chair down there at Commons Unit, crank that bitch back up, take lethal injection off the table. Lethal injection don't need to be nowhere on the table. That's too humane to execute somebody. No one needs to go to sleep and get high, or get high and go to sleep and pass away. That's too good. No, wrong answer. No. You need to have that thing strapped to your head, frizzled and fried like you're a piece of bacon in a skillet. If they hit you the first time and it don't work, and you sitting there and you smoking and smoke coming out your ears, smoking, then hit you again. Boom. And keep hitting you until there is no sign of life. Or bring to the firing squad to Arkansas. It's already in Utah and other states, maybe a few states. Bring it to Arkansas. Or the third one, stand them up on that thing like you did in the Old West. Ain't nobody gonna keep the hangman in my town. Drop. That needs to be the 3 ways of death here in the state of Arkansas. It needs to be that way all over the United States. But I don't care about other states. I'm talking about Arkansas. That's what it needs to be here in Arkansas. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders, if you're listening to this, any of the state legislators and senators, if you're listening to this, please consider that. Consider removing lethal injection and put hangman, firing squad, and the electric chair as means for death. And then the other thing is if you get a life sentence or any number of years, you're sent to an El Salvadorian prison. Donald Trump needs to make that happen. Make it happen, Trump. Make it happen. I'm for you, 100%. Let me finish reading this about Arkansas law. The act introduces a second category of offenders who must serve at least 85% of their sentences, including those convicted of second-degree murder, first-degree sexual assault, and manslaughter. So terroristic threatening, And a few more others fall up under that. So you get convicted for threatening someone's life, saying you're gonna do something to them, you're gonna spit on them, you're gonna kill them. They need to watch their back. When you catch them slipping, you're gonna kill them. You're gonna do all this. You're gonna do 85% of your time. Inmates seeking early release will no longer automatically earn good time credits. You hear that? Inmates seeking early release will no longer automatically earn good time credits. They must now complete rehabilitation programs, anger management, or skills training to be considered for parole. Now, let me go back to that. Y'all need to rewrite that, because completing an anger management class don't mean a hill of beans in prison. I completed an anger management class while I was in there, and I still get angry as hell. And if I had gamma ray stuff in my blood system, I get so angry to a point where I could turn into Incredible Hulk. I know that I'm bipolar. I just ain't been diagnosed. But yeah, that them rehabilitation classes in prison don't work. They do not work. All we do is we go in there, sit in a class. The instructor might bring some paper and pens or pencils, and we sit in there and listen for them talk, and then they might require that we do some homework, or rather it be cell work or barracks work, because you ain't going home, and you got to do certain things to bring the class, and you discuss, you sit there and you talk about your anger issues and everything. That don't work, people. Take it from somebody that has done that. That's not gonna work. So that's just something for a person to have, for an inmate to have on their record, to show that I went through SATP, Substance Abuse Training Program, or a treatment program. I went through parenting class. Can't nobody teach you to be no damn parent. That's got to be in you. You learn that along the way on how to be a parent. Can't nobody teach you how to be an effective parent. I took anger management. And do you still get angry? Hell yeah, I do. So miss me with that. Or skills training to be considered for parole. Additionally, any crimes committed in prison will lead to consecutive sentences, further extending time behind bars. So that's clear and cut. If you get sentenced to a 10-year sentence on a manslaughter charge, manslaughter is 3 to 10, or probation, unless they changed or enhanced the guidelines on that. And I just haven't read it yet. If you sentenced to 10 years on a manslaughter charge, you're down there doing that. And we won't even say that one. We'll say if you're down there on a theft by receiving charge, if I'm not mistaken, a class D felony, that's 1 to 6 years, or probation. So you're down there serving a 2-year sentence on a theft by receiving charge. And while you're down there serving that 2-year sentence, you stab somebody. You get into a fight, you stab somebody. And God forsake you, they die. Now you have a first-degree murder charge that you're going to go to. If you're a Cummins or Warner, you're going to go to Lincoln County Jail or court system. Now you're facing 10 to 40 or life, because you already have one felony conviction against you, the one that you're serving. But let's just say you have multiple ones. You got a theft by receiving, or what? Well, we're going to stay on point with the theft by receiving. So you got that one sentence. Now you're facing, well, right now You get one prior felony conviction. You get convicted on the first degree murder. Well, technically, you're going to get convicted on more than that. You're going to get convicted on the first degree murder, and you're going to be charged and probably convicted on defacing state property because you took a piece of metal and you chiseled it down and made it into a knife. You're also going to get hit with felon in possession of a weapon. So you're going to get hit with 3 felonies on that. Now that means that once you've been convicted on these 3 felonies that you committed while in prison, that means now you get 4 felony convictions on your record. That means now that by law, they can enhance your sentencing guidelines in that court right then and there. So instead of 10 to 40 or life, now it goes from 10 to life. So that means that they could sentence you to 565 years if the sentencing guidelines enables them to sentence you to 565 years. That means the first degree murder itself can be 565 years. Now that you get 4 felony convictions, the judge can say, I'm sentencing you to 565 calendar years on the first degree murder. On the defacing state property, I sentence you to 5 years to run consecutive. Now you get 570 years. On the felon in possession of a weapon, I'm sentencing you to 10 years to run consecutive to counts 1 and 2. So now you get 580 years. And all of this is to run consecutive to the 2-year sentence that you were already serving in the Arkansas Department of Corrections. So now you got 582 years sentencing. See how that works? Do y'all see how that works? Excuse me. So, and once that is done, now that you have been sentenced to a violent offense, here comes Homeland Security down to the courthouse to take you immediately from the courthouse and send you to El Salvador to lock your ass away in an El Salvadorian prison. That's where you need to go. That's how it needs to go. It says the law, which passed in 2023, aims to make sentencing more transparent and restore confidence in the state's criminal justice system. Now, I think I've harped on that long enough. So I'm going to let you all know right now, I'm going to work with the U.S. Marshals. I'm going to work with the FBI. I'm going to work with the Arkansas State Police, the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department, the Little Rock Police Department, North Little Rock Police Department, the National Security Agency, NSA, Air Homeland Security, any agency I can to get you MFs locked up and locked away. I'm letting you know that. If you're out here committing violent offenses, It's my duty to have you locked up. It's my duty to have you locked up and locked away. It's my duty to have you sentenced to the death penalty. It's my duty to have you sentenced to a vast number of years to where you're serving 85 to 100%, if not life with the possibility of parole, life without the possibility of parole, and sent to an El Salvadorian prison. That is my duty. That's my duty from here on out. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Under my watch, your ass is going to jail. If you're committing felonies out here and you're killing people, you're harming people, you're putting people's lives in danger, you're molesting children, you're threatening people, if I have anything to say or do about it, I'm helping law enforcement to lock your ass away. Plain and simple. I'm not going to play with none of y'all. I'm not scared of you or anything like that. I just want you out of this society. That's just all it is to it. I want you gone. I want you to fuck gone. I want you up out of here. You don't need to be here. You forfeit your right to live in a free and humane society. You do. That's just plain and simple. Either you're gonna do. I don't care about any other crimes, to be honest with you. I don't. It's just these violent crimes. And that includes terroristic threatening and things of that nature. Gang enterprise. All that. Causing a catastrophe. You need to be gone. You need to be gone. And it's my duty to help law enforcement to get rid of you. Yeah. So now, moving right along. We already discussed it in the thing, but you know about the two people that got killed in the mass shooting on the campus of Florida State by the 20-year-old Caucasian male that is the son of a deputy sheriff with the police department down there. He was involved in a community program with the police department. So all the deputies knew him. He knew his way around the police department. He had access to guns, and he did this. He took one of his mom's old service weapons, went onto the campus of Florida State University, and killed 2 people and injured several others. So this guy is a good prime candidate of, once he's sentenced, if he's not sentenced to death, if he's sentenced to life without parole, life with parole, or 30, 40, 50, 60 years, or whatever, he needs to be sent to El Salvador prison, up under what Donald Trump wants to do. Moving right along, Luigi Mangione. He's facing new charges, which could sentence him to death. Now, if you don't know who Luigi Mangione is, Luigi Mangione is the young male that that shot and killed the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of United Healthcare in New York last year. He's now facing the death penalty on some new charges, whatever those new charges are. So if you remember it, Luigi had a lot of followers that promoted him, that backed him, and was on his side. I haven't been seeing them out there in the news lately, but yeah, he's facing the death penalty now under these new charges. So be abreast of that. The Trump administration, has revoked over 1,000 international students visas. And students are in fear that they will lose, if they may lose or may many of their, if not all of their college credits. So as you know, Trump has been going hard on Harvard. He's been attacking Harvard. He's already taken funding worth $2.2 billion, and that's billion with a B. The second letter in the alphabet, A, B. Not million, not trillion, but billion. $2.2 billion away from Harvard University. This is a very lucrative college. This is a college that the Obamas went to and graduated from. This is a college that the Clintons went to and graduated from. This is a college that many politicians, many lawyers, doctors, and everything and so forth. It is a prestigious Ivy League college. And frankly, I believe that they can survive off of their alumni's support. They don't need the United States government to give them money. If the people that graduated from Harvard will come together and give donations annually, like, or monthly, like they should, then hey, just the same way like what alumni for historically black colleges and universities do, that keeps the doors open and the lights on and the faculty on staff at these HBCUs. They can do the same thing at Harvard for them. They don't need government money. You know, that's wasteful. That's part of wasteful spending. If you're mad at Harvard because they are not holding to your demands and what you want, then you want to pull funding off of them, then hey, Harvard, I suggest you get with people like the Obamas, the Clintons, and other people who have went to your school, who have graduated, who have went on to successful lives, making millions, if not billions of dollars to give back to your school. It's tax deductible, so they're not losing anything. Plain and simple. That's the solution. Go to your own people that you helped get an education to graduate from there, and you'll be all right. I believe you will be. Okay, now if you've been following the news, you know that Democratic Senator out of Maryland, Chris Van Hollen, after being denied to go to El Salvador, well, he actually went to El Salvador. He was denied when he was trying to get into El Salvadorian prison to see the wrongfully deported Garcia to El Salvador from the United States. So he ended up getting to see Kilmer Garcia, but he didn't go to the prison. They stopped him from coming to the prison. Now we know pretty much why they stopped him from coming to the prison, because of the inhumane conditions that go on at the El Salvadorian prison. So what El Salvador officials did was, and this was all on television, so you all will know, don't be hoodwinked by the news media, or by not the news media, but by what you saw on the news and on Twitter or X. They gave him a nice old bath or a shower, and put him in some jeans, a nice shirt, and I think that was an NBA ball cap that they put on him. And he went to the hotel, I believe, of where Senator Holland was staying. And they were in a nice old room. They had water there. They had what appeared to be margaritas and food, and they ate and they talked. and they talked and they ate and they broke bread together. So it made it look like Kilmer Garcia was living the lavish life in El Salvador, which he was not. It was just a photo stunt where it made it look like, you know, he was okay. But after it was over with, they immediately took him back into custody and locked him back up in the El Salvadorian prison. So just know that by that picture, that's not the way that it went. So I just want you all to be aware of that. So you can look on Twitter. You can go to Senator Chris, that's with a C, Chris, Van, V-A-N, last name Holland, Hollen. Go on his Twitter page and you'll see the pictures. I've also uploaded them to my my Facebook page as well, so you can go on there as well. I also uploaded a 2019 arrest record of Kilmer Garcia. Not saying that that has anything to do with why he's in El Salvador or justification of it. It's just giving a backdrop of everything that there is to, you know, that went on with him. And that's not to say that the arrest record that I posted was factual in its information. It's just saying that is out there. That's what I was able to pull up when I investigated and looked up the situation. So I wanted to post that on there for your review. We've already talked about the birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship is Trump said, Trump made this statement. He said, birthright citizenship is like slavery. If that is legally the case, it should be easy for us to win. Quote unquote. He's talking about the deportation of lawful birthright American citizens that are convicted of violent offenses to be deported to El Salvador prison. So that's what he said. Birthright citizenship is like slavery. Now, where he comes with that, I don't know. I mean, birthright citizenship is like slavery. What? I mean, come on, bro. How is being born in the United States like slavery? So he basically said, you born in the United States, we can do what we want to do with you at any given time. Well, we know that that's not true, but when you're convicted of a violent offense, yes, I agree with you then. So it should have been birthright citizenship to those who have been charged and convicted of a violent offense is like slavery. If that is legally the case, it should be easy for us to win. In that case, yeah. So just amend that and tweak that, Trump. Just amend that and tweak that, and you will be good, I believe. Now, Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is an idiot. And this is the Secretary of State. And the reason I say he's an idiot is because this idiot stated it's time to move on when referring to the Russia-Ukraine war will not end. He got on national television and he said, I'll give it a couple of more days. And if this war is not going to end, then perhaps it's time for us to move on. basically not even help Ukraine anymore, not even get involved in it or anything. But right after he said that, J.D. Vance was in Italy with his family. And he was on camera saying, I want to try to get his exact wording. He said, we are optimistic that we are close to getting a resolution to this long and brutal war. And even Trump was quoted as saying, and I don't have his exact quote, so I'm going to paraphrase this. Trump even said, it appears that we've got negotiations going on that we could get an agreement between the two, along with us facilitating it, where this war can stop. Now, if I was the president, I would have got on the phone and I would have called Marco Rubio and I would have said, you're fired. Don't even bother about coming back to Washington, D.C. to get your stuff out of your office. We've got somebody packing that up for you and going to send it to, give us an address. Give us an address where we need to send it to, send your stuff to. You can't have it sent to the house that you're staying in because you're no longer going to be staying there. If your wife is there, she's packing up everything now. We've got some people there that are helping her pack up everything, and she's taking it to wherever she's going to take it to. Your security detail is no more. That military plane that you rode over there on, you cannot ride back to the United States on. You need to get back to the United States however you can on your own. Take commercial, whatever. I don't care. But for making a stupid, ignoramus statement like that it's time for us to move on. First of all, I'm the president of the United States. You don't run shit. I don't care if you are the Secretary of State. You don't run nothing when it goes to making decisions about wars. You don't. You can come to me and say, Mr. President, on a one-on-one, or it could be me, JD, the Vice President, and you, the three of us, and say, hey, this is what I see going on. I believe we need to consider cutting loose and just letting them do whatever they want to do. Then that's when I would tell you, man, no, that's not a good idea. I appreciate you. But when you go on national television and you say this outright to the news media, it's as if you're speaking for me and the United States, and you don't speak for us. I speak for us. And because you've done this just so willy-nilly and boldly out in the open, whereas if I did agree with you, it would make it look like you're the president and I'm a follower because I went along with what you say it's time to move on. No, you're fired. I've already called over to Italy and let them know that you are no longer the Secretary of State. They can do whatever they want to with you or whatever. You don't have no security detail. I've already called Secret Service, let them know that, hey, get back on the plane and leave. Him and his family or whomever he's over there with can, well, he wasn't in Italy. That was J.D. Vance that was in Italy. But wherever he's at, he ain't got no nothing. Y'all don't protect him. He's an American citizen. I called every place else, the United Nations and everything, and let them know that you are no longer the Secretary of State. All your clearance would be revoked automatically, period. You can't scan to get in nowhere. You can't give no authorization, no nothing. That's what I would have done right there on the spot once you made that statement. And I would have walked out there, I'd have called a press conference in the Rose Garden of the White House. Not in the situation room, not in the press. Oh, that's my. Sorry about that, y'all. Not in the press conference room or nowhere. I would have dropped it right then. Hold on. Let me see what's going on for a minute. Hey, what's up? Is it important? I'm on live. What's up? Okay, bye. Okay, so uh that's what needs to be done with Marco Rubio. That was not a good thing for him to get on national television and make that statement. That was not a good look, because it makes it look like you're trying to run stuff. And my last topic I had already talked about from the top of the hour, about the Arkansas legislation passed criminal penalties, sex offenses on rape on anyone that violate a person 13 years of age or younger can be sentenced to life without or the death penalty now. So that's pretty much the gist of this conversation, of this live. I appreciate each and every one of you all for taking out the time out your schedule to watch and listen to this. I know some people probably weren't able to stay the entire time on the live, and that's cool, and I understand, because y'all got lives and everything. So, but I appreciate each and every one of you all. Depending upon if something else happens tomorrow, I will not be back with a news briefing until Monday, but I will try to make some posts about different things tomorrow and things of that nature. But I appreciate each and every one of you all for tuning in. I can't do this without you all. As I stated at the top, over here on YouTube, thank you for the returning viewers. I appreciate you. If you are not a returning viewer, you are a first timer here on YouTube, welcome. I appreciate you. I welcome you back. I ask you to support by hitting that notification, that subscriber button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit all. That way you can get notified when I go live. You keep the brand growing by doing that, by subscribing to the page and everything. I appreciate each and every one of you all over here on Facebook. If you can, please share both. Share from the YouTube, share from the Facebook, share it to yours. Send me some stars. Let's keep this brand going. Let's keep it growing. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays is when I do my tri-weekly news briefings. Monday, the beginning of the week. Wednesday, hump day. And then Friday, but today is Saturday. And because I was not able to do Friday, what I should have done Friday. But I appreciate each and every one of you all. Y'all take care. God bless your hearts and all your parts. Thank y'all through all the technical difficulties I had with the internet and everything. So I just wanna say that. I appreciate y'all. Signing off here from YouTube. Signing off here from Facebook.